Coach, I got to show you love, man, because you are an influencer. That video you took at the game, going around the stadium, everybody was turned up and down, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you was talking about atmosphere. That looked like an amazing atmosphere, Coach.
So, influencer?
What the hell has happened to you, Coach?
Shout out to the influencer, college football Hall of Famer, college football analyst, podcaster, grandfather. This man is the jack of all trades. If you can't beat him, join him, man.
Coach doesn't even know how to turn on his camera. Are you kidding me? He was trying to send a text, and next thing you know, there's a video coming out at us. The Triple Option is presented by Wendy's. Join Team Tendies and enjoy a lineup like never before. Crispy, juicy Tendies, now at Wendy's. Welcome to the Triple Option. So glad you're with us this week. He is the College Football Hall of Famer.
The
Urban
College Football
Meyer.
Hall of Famer in the flesh.
Ooh, that was a good trip to Las Vegas. He is soon to be College Football Hall of Famer, Mark Ingram II. Deuce Deuce. I'm Rob Stone. So glad you're with us this week. Hey, man. A lot to get to this week. College football playoffs finally begin Friday and Saturday. And, of course, so much to talk about and digest with what has transpired in Ann Arbor. As always, thank you for joining us. We love it when you can rate and subscribe and share. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts, social media. You can find us at 3X Option Show. New episodes every Wednesday, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Please leave those questions, leave those comments. We love to respond to them. Let's get right to it, Deuce Deuce. Time now for Any Given Saturday. And my goodness, the news that has been coming out of Ann Arbor has really kind of taken over not just the college football landscape, like the entire sporting landscape. It's even kind of worked its way out into normal conversation for sure. Sherrone Moore out as head coach after 2 seasons. He was fired for cause. It came quickly. It came immediately, and a lot to digest. And I'll say this, Mark. I always felt a little bit that Sherrone Moore, as respected of an offensive coordinator that he was, I think there's a lot of people, that includes Michigan people, that felt maybe he was a bit over his skis as a head coach. The record wasn't great, had pretty good success against Ohio State. But I know when I first heard the news, I was like, the timing seems off, but maybe Michigan just said, this isn't good enough and we need to make a change. And then all the news came out, and it became just, to me, Mark, I think it's one of the saddest stories I've ever encountered in all of athletics.
Yeah, Rob. We all love college football. We all love sports, and we obviously heard of the amount of coaches that have been fired through college football. But when you start hearing the information of what transpired to cause this firing, you start thinking of the human element of this thing, man, and all the lives that are impacted. Not only a program in Michigan, one of the blue bloods in college football, but Sherrone Moore, family, children, another family, you know what I mean? So you just start having sympathy and empathy for, these families that are being impacted and these lives that are being changed forever. And I can't help but to, hope that they can heal and be able to move forward with their lives, because I know, as painful as it is, we saw the Sherrone Moore video when he was doing the court thing, and
that was tough to watch.
Yeah, he looked like a shell of himself. He looked like a shell of himself, man. He looked lifeless. And someone who has spoke to Sherrone Moore, and like you said, you spoke about him maybe being a little bit over his skis, but I think he was dealt a hand, and he played his hand the best way that he possibly could. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Coach Harbaugh leaves. There's suspensions. There's all this bad stuff that got handed out to him. I thought he handled it really well. Obviously, his players love playing for him. But ultimately, man, just to hear the information that has happened, it's just heartbreaking. And my heart and thoughts and prayers go out to all the families involved. And hopefully everyone can heal and continue to move forward with their lives. But, Coach, I know you got some thoughts. I know you got some insights. Like you always do, you the man with the plan. What you got on the Michigan front right now?
Yeah, ditto what you said, Mark, about the family and the human element. I made that comment last week. That
yes, you did.
Rivalry put aside. I mean, you're talking about young kids and the whole deal. So I'll tell you, the Wolverines had a tough few years, man. After putting together, you just go back put it in reverse a couple of years. That's one of the best teams in modern history. And then all of a sudden, stuff after stuff and serious stuff. You know, when and I'm not talking about this current one, but you know, I remember even a couple guys on Big News says, "Well, Coach, everybody does it. You know, the sign stealing." I said, "No, they don't. I've never heard of that in my life. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So and then the COVID violations. So there's been a lot of stuff go on. Here's interesting though, Mark and Rob, is that there's two guys on that staff that were on my staff, and I spoke with one of the coaches today, and he made the comment to me, this is really a positive that they are great kids up there, and no one seems to be bailing.
Wow.
In this day and age, Mark, of you're a player. I mean, my gosh, and this isn't just you did make the playoffs, but they're 9-3 and they're playing a hell of a team in Texas that the whole world's going to be watching this game.
Right.
He said they're going about the business trying to win a game, which of all the negatives, that's a positive, and that's the quality of person I guess they have in Ann Arbor.
What I find interesting going on in Michigan right now is think about it. Like 3 of arguably the biggest positions at the university are in flux, right? They have an interim president, number one. All right. Their athletic director, Ward Manuel, I'm not sure he survives this. There is a thorough investigation going on for all the actions that have transpired lately through the athletic department, right? And Coach kind of touched upon it, but you go back, there were issues with the men's hockey team a few years ago with Juwan Howard as the basketball coach, the Connor Stallions sign stealing, the multiple suspensions for Coach Harbaugh. Remember the former offensive coordinator there, federal indictment for unauthorized access to computers and aggravated identity theft. And then this Sherrone Moore bomb and how it happened. That's a lot of stuff under Ward Manuel, right? So you've got an interim president, you've got an athletic director that is essentially, being investigated right now, if you will, by an outside company on how the athletic department has handled things, and Ward Manuel's on top of that. And they don't have a head coach right now, so their acting head coach is Biff Poggi. Talk about uncertainty at University of Michigan right now. I've been going to a couple holiday parties the last couple of days. There's a lot of Michigan people where I live, and they like beeline to me, Mark. Like they just want to talk about what have you heard?
Straight to you.
Straight to me. And they cut right to it. It's not like how the holidays, how's the family? It's like, hey, what's going on with Michigan? What are you hearing? How are they doing? And they are in an incredible state of flux and indecision right now, because I think they're locked by their inability right now to go forward because they have so many question marks with the hierarchy. And I don't know when those decisions happen. And one of the things that has to happen, and it's an awful time to do it, is they got to find a head coach, Mark.
Right. And if you need a head coach right now at this point in time, it is not the spot that you want to be. It is the most inconvenient spot to be in if you need a head coach at this point in time. You talked about the uncertainty of this program. Like you said, interim president, AD is getting investigated from an outside source. There's been a lot of suspect activity that's happened in this athletic department while Ward Manuel has been the athletic director. Now you have an interim head coach. So there's a lot of uncertainty around Michigan. But with that being said, we need to talk about a head coach. We know it's not the right time. We know it's not convenient to be needing a head coach right now. Coach, who do you think is a good fit for Michigan right now?
Yeah, I think you got to add that the transfer portal is about to pop here too. So there's a potential losing a roster. But like I said, that my inside source says that the players are all in. They're going to try to go win this game. So this is interesting that you have Florida, LSU, now the Wolverines. You're talking about the bluest of blue bloods is open. And I've been like you guys just listening. I don't have much inside scoop on this, but someone said like Marcus Freeman and what are you out of your mind? Kalen DeBoer, you're not going to leave blue blood to go to. I've never really heard of that.
Coach DeBoer put out. They made Coach DeBoer put out a statement yesterday. He said he's not interested. He hasn't had any contact. I'm like, don't even acknowledge this stuff.
Here's what's going on, Mark. Here's what's going on. I'm convinced. When you hear that stuff, that's an agent out there throwing his name out. And I can promise you're going to hear the word extension and a raise. So that's what happens. The name that popped up is the Washington coach, Jed Fish. He was actually at the Wolverines when I coached against I want to say
Wow.
back in 12, 13, 14, early in my career at Ohio State. Jed Fish was part of the Wolverine staff. I believe I think he was with Jim Harbaugh. And then, but I don't know if he'll leave Washington, or I don't know if is he?
You want to know a name that's coming up on the radar, Coach?
Talk to me.
Urban Meyer.
I think that's my agent doing that to get me a raise on Big Noon. That's what I think.
Yes, sir.
The name I met him real quick at the Hall of Fame was Clark Lee. And you
Clark
talk
Lee.
about a guy that I know Brady Quinn
Vanderbilt.
loves him. Brady Quinn loves him. He was at Notre Dame, I guess, and I don't know much about him other than the job he's done. But that kind of name, when I saw that name show up, that made sense. And then the coach at Arizona State, he's done a great job, and I keep hearing his name bounced around. So
Dillingham's name's out there a lot.
Yeah, Dillingham.
Yeah, Dillingham, and I don't know him, but he's done a hell of a job there. And I would imagine they're going to throw some things against the wall, see if they stick, and then they're going to get real, which normally happens, and that means they're going to go try to hire a guy that wants to be a Wolverine.
Yeah.
Mark, let me throw this out. And we kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago with this flood of vacancies and who's going to fill this, right?
Right.
And I had this feeling that there's going to be a lot of programs that are going to be forced to hire a head coach that they don't really want to be their head coach, that maybe they don't believe in with all their heart, or maybe they need to take a little bit more of a risk than they would like to because there's just so much transactional activities going on. Why not just stay with Biff Poggi, right? If things work out, and listen, he was already interim head coach a couple times this season when Sherrone Moore was suspended, right? And he has head coaching experience. He's a guy that loves Michigan, that bleeds it. The locker room, as Coach was talking about, believes in this guy. They haven't left the program. I think if Poggi has a good couple of weeks and the Citrus Bowl against Texas goes well, and again, there's all this indecision going on at Michigan, maybe they just say, hey, let's put some brakes on it and let Biff handle it right now. Let's get through this recruiting. Let's get through this transfer portal. Let's give him the season, because listen, nobody thought James Franklin was going to be available, right?
Right.
Nobody thought Brian Kelly was going to be available. Things change so rapidly in college football. Maybe just let Biff handle it.
Yeah.
And see how things play out in the coming, whatever it is, 9, 10,
I agree
months.
with you, though, especially in this day and age where now you get rid of Biff Poggi and now there's a new coach coming in that you might have to settle for. This is all about damage control right now.
Michigan doesn't settle, man. Michigan should not settle for a head coach.
And Coach said that he got information that these kids are staying together, that they're focused, that they want to be at Michigan. So why not have a Michigan man lead them instead of settling for a coach that you don't want? Kick the can down the road. Let a Michigan man continue. Someone who's been there, who's been a part of this championship that was 2 years ago, who's been a part of Michigan and knows what Michigan is about. Why not have him stay there and keep this thing kind of tightened together and continue to grow it until you find the exact candidate that you do want?
You know what, though, Mark? We might know who that exact candidate is, and he's right under our nose. Dave Portnoy. Dave, you want the gig?
Dave Portnoy, the new head coach of the Wolverines. And Charles Woodson
Charles Woodson.
CW is DC. Can you imagine Portnoy running down the ramp through the tunnel, trying to jump up and hit the flag, doing his thing?
Portnoy head coach.
Oh, that would be a trip.
Charles Woodson, DC. Our boy Devin Gardner, OC.
And then Portnoy still owes me $1,000. I know that.
He does. Portnoy always coached $1,000 for the NIL, for the Go Bucks NIL.
There it is. Dave Portnoy, congratulations. You're the new head coach at the University of Michigan. Coming up next, Mark dubs his final Deuce Deuce Dawg of the week of the regular season. And we talk about a quarterback who did not win the Heisman.
Light it.
College football not feeling as juicy as it once did? Let me put you on to something that'll shake up your Saturday and every other day of the week, because now that Wendy's has crispy chicken tendies and a powerhouse lineup of new sauces, it's time you transferred to the hottest team in the league.
That's right, Rob. Team Tendies, Wendy's Tendies. They're making their undeniable rookie season one for the books. Enjoy first-string flavor from some 5-star recruits, Rep your new favorite team everywhere you go, but make sure to cheer with your mouth closed.
Take it to the end zone of savory sauces like honey barbecue, creamy ranch, and the new Wendy's signature sauce to experience a total taste bud blitz of flavor. It's time to join a team that won't upset you with an upset. Taste the phenom that's gracing the gridiron with its juicy, crispy, and tendery tendencies. Don't fumble the bag. Commit to a team, tendies, and call the most delicious plays in the playbook. All right, huddle up. Tendies on three. Tendies on three.
1, 2,
2, 3.
3. Tendies.
Tendies!
Let's do this.
Ah!
No rehearsal. Wendy's Chicken Tendies now at participating U.S. Wendy's. This week's big match on campus, an SEC rematch in the first round of the college football playoffs. It is Bama on the road, Mark, at Oklahoma.
Stoner, you know my Tide, they got to get right against the Sooners. They lost the last 2 matchups, but it won't be 3. But it won't be easy with the game happening in Norman.
We know there's nothing like our favorite college football matchups, especially when you make them even more epic with FanDuel. Right now, all customers, guys, on FanDuel can score a 50% profit boost for this week's big match on campus between Bama and Oklahoma.
You can place a bet on the game, apply your profit boost, and enjoy boosted winnings when your bet hits. You get paid instantly when you win. Use your boost on bets like spreads, over-unders, team props, and so much more.
So don't wait. Secure your chance to score a 50% profit boost for this week's big match on campus between the Sooners and the Tide. Just visit FanDuel.com/triple option. That's FanDuel.com/triple option. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. This year marked the 126th edition of the Army-Navy game presented by USAA, and while both teams battled for the win, only one was victorious and achieved their goal to sing second.
As the proud presenter, USAA knows this game was much more than a traditional college matchup. It gave us a chance to come together and recognize the commitment, teamwork, and sacrifice our service members make for our country.
And USAA, founded by a group of soldiers over 100 years ago, stands with the military community, taking care of those who served and their families, with insurance and banking, backed by award-winning service, wherever life takes you.
So whether you were rooting for the Army Black Knights or the Navy Midshipmen, USAA is proud to have joined you in honoring and celebrating one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports. Visit USAA.com to learn more. Welcome back to the Triple Option. Mark, you know what time it is? Let's go. Yeah, we got to let's go because it is time for the Deuce Deuce Dawg of the Week.
Hey, man.
Where are we going? We going to Baltimore with this?
Yes, you know I'm going to Baltimore. We're going to America's game. We're going Army versus Navy, 1-point game, and I got to go with the Navy quarterback, Blake Horvath. The stats aren't electric, but it's game full of dogs, and he is the dog of dogs in this week for the Deuce Deuce Dawg of the Week. 7 of 14, 82 yards, but he also had 34 carries for 107 yards and another touchdown. And a 1-point victory for the Commander-in-Chief trophy is back in Navy again for back-to-back seasons. Blake Horvath, the Dog of the Week, the Naval Academy, holding it down for the Dog of the Week.
Clutch.
But Coach was in the locker room. Coach Jeff Monken. You was in the locker room, man. Tell us about it, man.
Yeah, Nike also, they redo their locker room every year, and it was 250-year celebration of our country, and Jeff Monk has been a friend of mine. We went back to 1990. We've been friends, so that's how many years. and I saw his wife on the sideline. And this is their version, and you could probably say the second or third. Probably the Iron Bowl second, and then this one's maybe third. Or some people, this is the number one rivalry
Right.
in the game. And the intensity, the nervousness. I was actually with him for a walkthrough, Mark and Rob, the night before. But they put everything into the game. Navy took the ball right down, scored. I thought we're in trouble. I'm an Army guy because of my father. And they fought their way back. I thought they won. And they had the ball in their hand twice at the end of the game. Horvath, the quarterback, fumbled the ball on the 1 yard line. 1 yard line. Army had the ball in their hand. That's a game set match if they recover it. Instead of falling on it, try to advance it, and Navy got it back and threw a touchdown pass. I want to say an 8-yard touchdown pass right in front of me. I was standing right in the end zone.
And on 4th down too, by the way.
On 4th and 8. And then they had another turnover at the end of the game, and it was called.
He recovered it.
Yeah, the correct call. No, it was a correct call. The quarterback was down. So
he fumbled it, recovered it, and extended it for the first down.
I know we do the triple option there, boys. You have to someday join me on the sideline for that game. It makes your heart warm. The best part of the game is the march on, they call it. And that's all the cadets and midshipmen, the entire student body of the elite march on the field. I tear up every time I see it. They had helicopters going over. They had fighter jets going over. And they had the President of the United States there, all the dignitaries. It was a day for our country, but it was a great football. And I'm going to add this. Newberry, the coach at Navy, and the coach at Army, Munkin. I'm biased. Those are two excellent coaches. And this was two really, really good teams playing each other.
Well, if you tell us that you're having all that access, I'll definitely be there next year. You know what I mean? But also, Coach, I got to show you love, man, because not only are you a podcaster, not only are you a college football Hall of Famer, not only are you a college football analyst, but now you are an influencer. That video you took at the game with all that video you took going around the stadium, everybody was turned up and down, jumping up and down.
Yeah,
I mean, like, you was talking about atmosphere. That looked like an amazing atmosphere, Coach. So shout out to the influencer, college football Hall of Famer, college football analyst, podcaster.
The hell has happened to you, Coach?
This man is the jack of all trades. If you can't beat him, join him, man. He is the one and only Urban Meyer.
Influencer. Coach doesn't even know how to turn on his camera. Are you kidding me? He was trying to send a text, and next thing you know, there's a video coming out at us.
Hey, it was a good video,
Coach,
though.
the best, man.
He tricked the hell out of me. Shoot.
That was the Fresh Take of the Week presented by Wendy's. Join Team Tendies and enjoy a lineup like never before. Crispy, juicy tendies now at Wendy's. I'll be honest, I hadn't watched a whole lot of Army-Navy games in the past just because travel or work commitments, and it just wasn't in front of my face. But this Saturday, I made a commitment to it and sat down. Man, it was really entertaining. To your point, Coach, the pomp and circumstance, the passion. These are just these student athletes that are there to defend your honor, to defend your country. The people in the stands that care so much about the red, white, and blue. An amazing spectacle, and I hope it remains that. I hope it can stay as the game of that second Saturday in December. But, if there's playoff expansion, that game gets jeopardized. The fact that they're in the same conference right now and it doesn't count as a conference game, that's a nuance to it. And I think Army-Navy has enough muscle and enough power that they might be able to navigate some of it for some stretch. But I don't know how much longer Army-Navy is going to be the way that you saw it on Saturday, Coach.
Yeah, I saw Neuheisel and Aaron Taylor, the CBS crew, they do, and then Gary Danielson, and they do a great job. And I went over to him. I said, man, I've been pushing Fox, somehow get this damn game. And they're like, we ain't giving this thing up. Man.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't give them inside information, Coach. We need to do a flank around the back. Yeah.
And it's the second time in my lifetime I've ever tailgated.
Wow.
I tailgated at Army-Navy with my friends, Josh Payton from
Did you have that Los Linderos out there?
No, I just had a little chili. I didn't have any refreshments.
Hey, man,
because I knew I was going to meet in generals and everything else. So I said, no, I'm good.
Coach, tailgating, man, it's not just a bowl of chili. Like there's got to be some
Yeah,
refreshments.
You
in your
didn't
hand.
tailgate, Coach.
Yeah,
You
that's
just
what I'm saying, Mark.
Yeah, you didn't tailgate.
For Coach, he tailgated. Coach, did you jump off a minivan into a table that's on fire? If you didn't, you didn't tailgate.
Oh, that's
I
Bill's
didn't tailgate. Then
That's Bill's tailgate.
That's mafia. How much would I love? I would pay a lot of money. Coach, by the way, that's what you should do for charity. Put up Urban Meyer tailgates at a Buffalo game, and you come into a flying elbow into a table that's on fire. That'll raise a lot of money. All right, time to pivot. Yeah. Time now to sound off. Oh, it's a good one this week. Vanderbilt quarterback, Mark Ingram favorite, Diego Pavia, came second to Indiana's Fernando Mendoza in the Heisman race. By the way, congratulations, Fernando. What a hell of a season. And I know you got my number one vote, and I'm proud that I voted you number one, and you deserved it, my friend. Diego Pavia finished second, got 189 first-place votes. Mendoza, 643. So this race really wasn't as close as people were talking about. But what made the headlines afterwards is how Pavia reacted to not winning the Heisman. So there you go. Take that to the voters, right? But apparently he wasn't done. When he was out in New York, had another sign with the Indiana contingent in mind.
Ouch.
Yeah.
No, we don't need to do that, man.
So he did post an apology to his credit, but Mark, it feels like some of the damage was done already, and I'm not sure much of that can come back.
Listen, instead of giving the love to somebody who's ungrateful for the opportunity to go to the Heisman, I just want to go back to what you said, Stoner. Fernando Mendoza, an amazing year and an amazing speech. You can see the gratefulness, you can see the humbleness, you can see the gratitude to be there. He paid homage to his mother. He paid homage to his teammates. The speech was just very articulate. It was very heartwarming, and it was good to see someone of high character win that award or hoist that trophy, because not only is the Heisman Trophy about elite athletic ability, it is also about being an elite human being, and I think the right guy won the trophy. But with that being said, going back to what you showed us, F all the voters is crazy when 189 people had you first on the ballot. So maybe you should have said F 643 voters. Not
and I was one of them. I was one of them. He was effing. You were another one.
I was one of them too, because Fernando was.
So he
first.
Effed you guy. He effed you.
Yeah,
guy.
he effed me, and that's fine. That's fine, because guess what? My trophy's sitting right there. So I don't give a damn who you F. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, he's just showing. An apology, Stone. That wasn't his apology. Some PR team.
Somebody got to
him. He told us how he felt. He said F all the voters. He told us how he felt in the video at the club, like F Indiana. You know what I mean? That's a straight shot at Mendoza. Like, you know what I mean? Like, be humble, be grateful in defeat. Just congratulate the people who earned it. Fernando Mendoza did earn it. Jeremiah Love did earn it. All you guys earned the opportunity to be there. You should celebrate that. Be humble by it. Be grateful for it. That's not the way that you present yourself or your university or your family in that manner. So whatever, man.
Very un-Vanderbilt-like, right? You know, if he had another season, Clark Lee definitely would have taken him by the ear, right? And like, come here. What are you doing?
He fighting for another season?
We can't have this. Who knows? He might play another season. With his background and what he's doing, who knows? But as of now, he is declared for the NFL. It'll be very interesting to see how NFL front offices react to that, right?
Good luck declaring for the NFL, dude.
Well, there's part of me that does love that fight and that attitude. And hey, it's me and my brothers, and that's it. And everybody else, screw you, right? That wasn't the moment for it. And I wonder how that's going to play in those interviews, you know, with scouts and GMs and head coaches. But let's go back to Mendoza, guys. I have a good little story for you. Went to a holiday party last night, and I'm real good friends with this one family. And she came up to me. She doesn't really watch college football, but she did see Mendoza's speech after winning the Heisman. And she goes, Rob, I went on the computer and I Googled, does Fernando Mendoza have a girlfriend? Because I really want to set him up with my daughter. And I was like, I just love that. Like, she has a super Ivy educated daughter. And she's like, that boy is welcome in my household, right?
For my daughter.
That boy can please date my daughter. That
was
boy
when I was
gets it.
coaching Tebow. I'd get those every week.
I bet.
Hundreds of them, and one was Shelly. Will Tim Tebow date one of our daughters?
Not wrong.
I'll tell you what, Mendoza was on Triple Option, and you guys, that was one of the greatest interviews we had. I watched the highlight of the acceptance speech, and I'll tell you what, that's good for our sport. That's good for Indiana, and obviously the Mendoza family, and for the NFL. I mean, he proved me wrong. I kind of thought he needed another year. He's ready to go. He's ready to go play. I don't know if he does anything great. I mean, like elite, but he's great at everything. The ball comes out fast. He's got good size. He's mobile enough to get out of trouble. But when you cut him open and you listen to him speak, his intellect, his toughness, and his competitive spirit. Remember, on the road at Oregon, on the road at Penn State in a 2-minute drill, one of the best I've ever seen. And then to go beat a team that's more talented to them in the Big Ten Championship. Heisman Trophy winner and the best season in IU. One of the best, I think, best turnarounds in college football history.
Yep. Mendoza, I wonder how he's going to look in that New York Jet green next year. Tell me how you really
I don't
feel.
even want that for my guy.
Why do that to him? Why punish him?
Well, I do love Aaron Glenn, head coach of the Jets.
For sure.
I do love Chris Banjo, the special teams coordinator for the Jets. Those are two of my guys.
Mm-hmm.
But just the Jets overall as an organization has not been great as of late. So I don't prefer that for him.
No. We only want the best for Fernando, and we want him to date lovely ladies as well. All right. Tell us what you think about Fernando Mendoza, Diego Pavia's reaction to getting snubbed with the Heisman in the comment section, the question segment, wherever you want to put it. Coming up next on the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. News from Utah as a legend steps away, and we hit the playoff games coming your way this weekend.
Light it.
Support for the Triple Option comes from Google. We hear commentators talk about the, quote, spread offense all the time, but what if you don't know exactly what a spread offense means or what makes it different from, I don't know, any other offensive scheme out there? You can keep wondering, or you could just ask your friends and hope they know what they're talking about. Or your best option would be you can use AI mode in Google search.
You can just type, help me understand what a spread offense is and why a football team would choose to run it. Yep, you can ask that all in one search, and you'll get an organized and helpful AI-powered response with everything you need to know.
But it doesn't end there. Let's say you want to keep going deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a whole new search. You can ask direct follow-ups like, break down how it compares to the pro-style offense based on overall philosophy, types of formations used, and pace. AI mode is great at these types of comparisons, giving you a side-by-side analysis and helping you get the full story from one question to the next.
So if you don't just want to watch the game, but really understand it, you can just ask Google. Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving.
And your vehicle might not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world. Whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving, the next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver.
The only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA. Welcome back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram II, Rob Stone back here with you. Time now for Crossroads, presented by NHTSA. Whether you get pulled over or get into a crash, drinking and driving will change your whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA. Love that message, particularly here during the holiday season, folks. Be careful. Get somebody else to take you home, right? How about the crossroads that the Utah football program is at right now. After 21 highly successful seasons, Kyle Whittingham retired on Friday, winning as head coach in program history with 177 W's. Coach, he won at least 10 games 8 times, had 18 winning seasons, 3 conference titles. He was consistency epitomized, and I love everything that he did for Utah, and I know the love I have for him isn't even close to the love that you have for him.
Yeah, I hired Kyle when I was hired. It was really unique because he was interviewed for the head coaching job, and I had no intention of keeping him. And I met him, and they were awesome. They were really good on defense for years, and I was like, "What am I, nuts?" And I kept him. We became as close as I've ever been with a coach. He's that good. He's arguably the best coach I've ever been around. And so you said that crossroads. I would disagree with that. It's the smoothest transition. It's a little bit like what Bob Stoops did at Oklahoma, what I did at Ohio State with Ryan Day. It's still that train is still going at 100 miles an hour. Morgan Scalley played for me, All-American safety, has been one of the best defensive coordinators in the land for a long time, and he's the coach in waiting. So that's Mark. There cannot be a smoother transition. They won 10 games this year. Going to go to a good bowl game. Utah took Kyle Whittingham. All I want to know is where they're going to put his statue, and what he's done for that. Not only Utah, for the state of Utah. He's put them square on the map. That they're every year. The TV cameras and the whether it be Big Noon or other channels are going there to showcase that great school and that great state. So Kyle Whittingham deserves it, and the recognition's all deserved. Is one of the best ever been around.
Did he drive into work on that Harley, or did he just save that for the off season?
I think that was post Meyer when he started the
post Meyer.
I'll tell you what though, I beat him in a race one time.
Here we go again, Mark. How many times have we heard this story?
He beat the hell out of me in tennis. I look at that guy. He looks like he's 40 years old.
Yeah, he does.
He's a great dude.
He looks stronger than
He's a great dude.
Amen. Coach, you talk about that statue, like that's granite of granite, right? I mean, that is going to be a jacked up. I mean, Coach has got forearms now, right? Forearms and arms and chest and torso. Like he's a man's man. Yeah. I'm all in favor for him, man. I'm excited for him to enjoy some well-deserved time off as well. Time now for a 2-minute drill brought to you by FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/triple option to download the app and take advantage of a 50% profit boost today. First round of the college football playoffs begin on Friday. We're not going to pick that game. We're going to pick the 3 Saturday games, and we're going to save Alabama at Oklahoma for Friday, where we will be live from Norman, Oklahoma at Campus Corner, a live edition of the Triple
with Bob
Option
Stoops,
at
right?
4:30 Central Time. Scheduled to appear, Coach. Scheduled to appear.
Love
Bob
that
Stoops.
Guy. It'd be great.
He's the best. There's a reason I'm getting in Thursday, and it's to spend time Thursday night at the Stoops Castle. Oh my goodness. Great. Friday could get a little hazy. We'll see how Thursday goes. But yeah, Coach Stoops scheduled to join us live at Campus Corner, 4:30 Central Friday before Oklahoma hosts Alabama. All right, so let's talk about the 3 other first-round games again. All of these are on campus. Coach, you're first. Number 12 seed, James Madison at 5 seed Oregon. Ducks favored 21.5 points, over under 50.5.
Yeah, before I pick, I got a couple thoughts on that. I coached at Bowling Green and I coached at Utah, and Utah was the first non-BCS team to play in a BCS bowl. And people hammered us about that. I remember Trev Alberts was, I believe, on ESPN and made some really harsh comments about, and I went after him a little bit and said, you don't understand, the players we have coming. I offered to buy him a ticket to come watch practice. I said, I'll buy your ticket and come watch us, and then you tell me if we don't belong. And obviously we finished number 3 in the country that year, so we did belong. James Madison, I think this whole thing's got to be it's everything's good. Everything's really good. The interest, the playoff. There's got to be a couple reboots here, and a reboot would be I would mandate that at James Madison or a non-Power 4, you have to play 3 You have to play three programs in the top 50, or you can't be, win your conference and win whatever, but you can't be considered. And that would tell the ADs and all that, then, because you have to be judged on that. You can't be judged on the other games. You just can't. And I'm not disrespecting. I coached in the MAC conference. It's awesome. I mean, my God, there's first rounders in those conferences. However, you're telling the Fighting Irish to sit home and James Madison's going. And some people, whether it's right or I didn't want to say right or wrong or deserving or not, the better team's supposed to be in the game.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yep.
it. So if you're telling me James Madison and Vegas comes out and says, well, James Madison would beat Notre Dame, then they made the right choice. If not, then it's not the right choice.
Coach, I get your point, but
but what?
I don't know how
Don't say but.
No, I will say but. And you'll understand in a second, because you want to put, and again, I know this is just a brief idea and you haven't laid out the whole thesis for it. I understand that. But to say like they have to schedule a top 50 team. So what is a top 50 team? Like are we talking preseason? Because a lot of times you'd say Oklahoma State. We scheduled Oklahoma State. Good on us. But Oklahoma State's not a top 50 team right now.
That should count. That should count. But
so that's what I'm saying. Just like that
involved in the
clarification.
scheduling. But you have to. But they don't. They'll schedule one.
Agreed. The other problem, the other pushback might be those programs don't want to schedule a James Madison or a Tulane because they're just good enough that they could screw it up for them, right? And that's a pay game, right? Like you're paying Tulane, you're paying James Madison to come, and you're like, well, wait a second, do we want to bring in a good team that's really going to push us? I get it, and I think the big boys, the big dogs, as you say, right? The big dogs need to play as well. Like, okay, if you want one of these spots, we have to sacrifice one of our Saturdays to take you on so you can prove that you belong, or we can prove that you're not good enough. And then
Ole Miss played Tulane and beat them 45-10 earlier this year. So
you got ahead of me. I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay, my bad.
All right, Coach, we digress.
Let me give you the score or my feelings on that. I think you're going to run into a buzzsaw in Autzen. I think you got a bunch of players in Oregon that, they're kind of used to winning the big. They won the Big Ten last year, so I think, and I know that
100-0, Coach.
I'm not saying a hundy, but I'm saying this could be a tough go for the boys at James Madison. And I don't want to disrespect James Madison because they had a great year.
They did.
They had a great year. They have an excellent coach. But I'm saying that I think it's minus 21.5 is the spread.
That's the line?
I'm saying that's going to be.
That's the line.
That's going to be a 30. That's going to be a 30 burger.
I'm betting.
You think a 30 burger? I don't think people are giving Oregon enough credit right now. Like
Oregon's one of the top teams. They could win it. They could win.
I agree.
21.5 is the line?
Yeah.
I'm betting
and
that.
The winner,
they're covering that
The winner gets Texas Tech.
100-0.
A lot of it's not going to be 100-0. It's not going to be 100-0. Listen, Oregon's got a lot of questions at wideout with the health as well, but Sadiq at tight end has been, he's been the best tight end in the Big Ten.
3 running backs.
Tight end of the year. Yeah, I agreed. People are not talking enough about Oregon.
2 words, Autzen Stadium.
Yeah, enough said.
Yep.
All right, so Coach likes the Ducks. Makes sense. All right, I have number 20 Tulane at number 6 Ole Miss. The Rebs favored by 17.5, over under 56.5 mark. As you mentioned, a rematch of a September meeting in Oxford. Ole Miss won it comfortably, 45-10. The quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, had himself a day, 419 total yards and 2 touchdowns. That, though, was with Lane Kiffin as the head coach. We all know Lane is in Baton Rouge right now. So former defensive coordinator Pete Golding was handed the keys like instantaneously, like right away to try and keep coaches, try and keep players as they go to their first ever playoff game. I did some research on Coach Golding, spent time coaching at Delta State, Southeastern Louisiana, Southern Miss, UTSA, Alabama, Mark. He was on their staff when they won the 2020 national title. Last 3 seasons, Coach Golding was the DC at Ole Miss. You know what's missing from his resume, though, Coach? Head coaching experience. None. So he makes his head coaching debut in arguably the most anticipated game in the history of Oxford, right? So how is he going to handle that moment? How are his players going to handle this transition? Tons of distractions out there, right? And they've been going on for a while. But I feel like there's this chance to win each group over. Like Coach Golding has the opportunity to win his players over. The players have the opportunity to win Coach Golding over. I see this as a unification type moment. Like, let's rally together. Let's do this. It's a perfect tune-up for what will be Georgia in the quarterfinals in New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl. So I like Ole Miss to cover guys and play with, I'm going to call it an excitable edge. I think Ole Miss, their story is far from being written. All right, Mark, a good one. Number 10, Miami heads down to Texas A&M. The Aggies, they are your 7 seed. Favored, though, by only 3.5. Over under is 51.5.
Listen, man, y'all was talking about them games, them Rudy Poos. Let's talk some real football. This is a real
Rudy Poos, the Rock,
Rudy Poo candy. No, but no. Now we got some real football. A&M, Miami. Guess what? Miami's first time in the playoff. A&M's first time in the playoff at Kyle Field. We know how Kyle Field is. You talk about Austin earlier, Coach. Kyle Field is another one of those venues. You got 2 of the best pass rushing teams in the country going head-to-head. Miami leads the ACC in sacks. A&M leads the nation in sacks. In addition to 2 of the nation's best individual pass rushers going against each other. You got Reuben Bain Jr. You got Reuben Bain down there in Miami. One of the top graded prospects in the NFL draft going against Texas A&M's Cassius Howell, 11.5 sacks on the season. So both of these D lines correct the game. So I think a lot's going to come down to how these quarterbacks manage the pressure. Now, you know Marcel Reed, his ability to be able to run the ball with his legs, electric with his legs, that'll be paramount in this game going against Miami's rushing attack. Miami's pass rushing attack. But then you got Carson Beck. How do they do that? Quick passing game.
What Carson Beck are we going to see, right?
Like
Carson Beck throwing it to
Hurricanes what you say,
throwing
Coach?
it to Aggies.
Is it Carson Beck? Is it Carson Beck A player or Carson Beck B player? If it's
Carson Beck B, they lose.
Carson Beck B, they lose and get thumped. But
yeah,
what Carson Beck has going for him is Malachi Toney, baby Jesus. You get the quick passing game to him. He's had back-to-back games, over 10 receptions, over 100 yards. Mark Fletcher Jr. running the football. That'll be paramount. Get on schedule. Get positive plays on first and second down. Because if you get to 3rd and long, Texas A&M, what their defense is good at getting off the field on 3rd down. Their defense is great at rushing the passer. So in this game, we know the pass rush will be a paramount. We know being able to stay ahead of the chains will be paramount with great pass rushers. I think in this game, the difference is Marcel Reed's ability to use his legs, electric in the run game, electric scrambling, electric with off-schedule plays, him throwing the ball down the field to Mario Craver, him throwing the ball down the field to Casey Concepcion.
Mm-hmm.
They got some dogs now, I'm telling you. The running back, Ruben Owens is second. He's their leading rusher. We got some questions. Le'Veon Moss, will he be available? That's their number 1 back. He's been hurt with an ankle injury all year long. Possible to be available? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. That could be a big boost for them. But I think A&M at Kyle Field, I think 3.5 is a little too much. I think it's going to be a 1, 2, 3-point game.
Ooh,
at Kyle Field. I think it's going to be a close game, but I got the Aggies winning.
I think it's all Carson Beck, Mark.
Yeah,
I think it is. They handle that atmosphere and they handle
that pass rush.
The pass rush.
Yep. A&M is good at 2 things on defense. They're good at rushing the passer. They're good at getting off the field on 3rd down because they had that pass rush. But their defense, let me tell you this, Coach, they've allowed 28 points per game and 175 rush yards per game in the last 5 games against FBS opponents. So there is some rough stuff to be had. Let me add this about
Carson Beck, Mark. I think this will be the most important game that this quarterback, Carson Beck, has ever played.
100%.
Because now he's got to prove to the NFL scouts he can handle, because he's been up and down. I mean, the talent's there, but I'm telling you that every NFL scout and GM is watching this game to seeing if he can really be an NFL quarterback, because he's facing an NFL defense.
So that game's on Saturday. We want to remind you on Friday, we got a lot going on. If you're an Alabama fan like Mark Ingram.
Roll damn Tide.
And also, if you're an
if you don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, I better see you in Norman, Oklahoma at the live Triple Option podcast show.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that's going to be at Campus Corner. The address, 746 ASP Avenue. the ultimate tailgate. So if you're a Bama fan like Mark, if you're an
I
Oklahoma
want to see
fan,
it too.
you're
If
going to
you're an
want to be showing
Oklahoma
up
fan,
too.
bring your energy.
Yeah.
Bring your booze.
For sure.
I don't give a
There's
damn.
going to be music, food, drinks. There's also an episode of The Dynasty, right? The Alabama podcast with AJ McCarron and Trent Richardson. They come on, and then we follow them with a live episode of The Triple Option, scheduled to appear our dear friend, the Hall of Famer, Bob Stoops. It all starts at 3 p.m. Central. We take the stage at 4:30 Central, Campus Corner, 746 ASP Avenue in Norman. Please follow, subscribe, rate us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on social media at 3X Option Show. We love your feedback. We strive to have your comments and questions put in on our show, so give us the material. As always, thank you to our wonderful sponsors, Wendy's, FanDuel, USAA, NHTSA, and Google. Hope to see you Friday in Norman.
I'm going to tell you this, Stone. My son, you talk about Wendy's, my son, all he's been asking for the last 2-3 weeks is a Frosty. All this man wants is a Frosty. Can we go get a Frosty?
Go get him a Frosty right now. We're done.
So Wendy's, go ahead and send them gift cards. I need it.
There you go. Throw in some tendies while you're at it, Mark.
I love me some tendies. You know what I mean?